The peace station hovered above the star called Myros 7, deep in neutral space. It was massive, over 100 kilometers long, shaped like a spinning disk with docking rings, communication towers, and golden banners stretching from its outer surface. It was called the Harmony Spire, and it was built to be a place where wars stopped and peace had a chance. Today, 5 of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy had gathered there, and for the first time in many years, Earth was invited to the table. One by one, the fleets arrived. The Volari came first. Their ships were shaped like great birds with glowing wings, each one painted with bright colors that shimmered in the sun. The Volari believed in showing strength through elegance. Their engines left behind trails of soft golden mist. Next came the Dreadnoughts, tall warriors with red skin and heavy armor. Their ships looked like floating mountains, thick, slow, but nearly indestructible. Spikes lined their hulls, and their weapons were always armed, even during peace talks. The third fleet belonged to the south, a strange, whispering species with long limbs and no eyes. Their vessels were strange, too thin, almost invisible. Their stealth systems were unmatched, and some said their ships could disappear between dimensions. Their arrival was quiet, no sound, no lights, just a soft distortion in space where ships appeared. Fourth came the Marin, insect-like beings with clicking jaws and nervous movements. Their ships were fast and alive, literally. Marin grew their ships from biometal, and the vessels breathed, moved, and even reacted with emotion. Finally, the fifth and most feared race arrived, the Grail. Silent, cold, and cruel. Their ships were black steel, shaped like long hammers, no color, no light, just mass and destruction. Every Grail ship moved as one, like a machine. Even the other alien fleets made space for them. The 5 alien races had once fought each other in brutal wars, but now they stood together, united by power and control. They believed they had reached the peak of galactic civilization, and now they had agreed to meet again, this time to humor humanity. The humans arrived last. Their fleet emerged from hyperspace with a soft blue glow. There were 9 ships. The lead ship was called the Horizon's Edge, a large cruiser with a gray hull and standard weapon ports. It was followed by 2 support cruisers, 3 corvettes, 1 command carrier, and 2 older battleships with visible repair welds across their sides. No gold, no stealth, no elegance. Just plain metal and engines. The alien commanders watched from their bridges. The Volari leader, Admiral Seraph, leaned back in her chair. Her feathers shimmered as she laughed. They arrived in trash bins. The Dreadnought warlord Darnik slammed his fist on the armrest. They bring a cargo fleet to a summit of powers. This is an insult. The self didn't speak out loud. They communicated in low whispers between one another, but one of them finally hissed. Do they expect us to believe this is their best? The Marin, always twitching, clicked their mandibles. Their ships are nervous, like prey. The Grail commander, Grand Marshal Torvek, said nothing. He simply stared at the human fleet on his screen, cold eyes, no emotion. On the bridge of the Horizon's Edge, Captain Liam Carter stood straight with his hands behind his back. He wore a plain uniform, no medals, no symbols, just a black patch on his chest that read, Earth Fleet Command. He looked at the 5 alien fleets floating around the Harmony Spire, each one brighter, larger, and more advanced looking than his own. Next to him stood Lieutenant Grace Harper, his communication officer. She leaned closer and whispered, "They're laughing at us, sir. All of them, I know." Liam replied calmly, "They think we're weak. We are not weak. We are waiting." Waiting for what? Liam didn't answer right away. Instead, he stared at the largest ship in the Grail fleet. It was called the Blood Anvil, a destroyer-class vessel the size of a city. He smiled slightly for them to look away. Behind them, in the command room, Admiral Nora Lawson appeared on the holoscreen. She was aboard a ship in a hidden system, far from the summit. "Report, Captain," she said. "We've arrived," Liam answered. "The aliens are unimpressed." "Good. They're not supposed to be impressed. They're supposed to feel safe." "They do." "Excellent." Lawson paused for a moment, then said, "Begin Phase 1. No changes to formation. Keep transmitting at standard levels. No unusual patterns." "Yes, Mum." The screen vanished. Grace looked confused. We're just going to sit here. For now, Liam said. She looked out the window at the massive alien ships. They outgun us 100 to 1. Liam nodded. Exactly. That's why they won't see it coming. At the Harmony Spire, the summit began, inside the station's central chamber. Each species sent 3 delegates. Captain Liam was among the human delegates. The room was shaped like a giant circle, with the floor made of transparent glass showing the stars below. The walls were covered in moving maps of fleet locations and trade routes. The Volari ambassador stood and gave a long speech about peace and mutual growth. The Drekai spoke of honor and strength. The South whispered about balance and darkness. The Marin offered laughter and trade. And the Grail simply said, "We watch." Then it was humanity's turn. Captain Liam stood, took 2 steps forward, and said calmly, "We are honored to be here. We bring peace and humility." The room remained silent. The Volari smiled politely. The Drekai rolled their eyes. After the meeting, a smaller gathering took place aboard the Drekai ship Spinebreaker. Drinks were served. The alien officers mingled. Jokes were shared. A young Volari officer raised a glass and said, "To Earth builders of the weakest fleet in the galaxy." They laughed. Another Marin officer added, "Maybe we should give them one of our drones. It would triple their firepower." More laughter. Back on the horizon's edge, no one laughed. The human officers moved through the ship in quiet routine. Some cleaned weapons, some checked readings, some stood by closed doors waiting for instructions. 1 floor below the main deck, a sealed room lit up. Inside, a long table was filled with screens. 12 officers in black uniforms sat around it. A display on the wall showed 5 alien fleets orbiting the Harmony Spire. A countdown began to tick on one screen. Just numbers, no sound. 96 hours remaining. Then, a message appeared in small text. "The ghosts are in position." One of the officers leaned forward and said, "Ready to unmask the veil, Captain." Captain Liam, now seated at the head of the table, said just for words, "Let them keep laughing." Far beyond the edge of the system, near a dead moon, something massive floated in complete silence. There were no lights, no engine sounds, no signals. A fleet. Dozens of ships. Long, sharp, black as space. Cloaked. Sleeping. Waiting. And at their center, the real flagship of Earth's hidden strength, the HSS. Revenant, silent and ready to rise. The Harmony Spire was alive with activity. Since the summit opened, diplomats, military officers, and spies from all 5 alien races moved through the station's long corridors. They talked, traded, whispered, and watched, even during peace talks. Everyone wanted to gain something, and that meant information. The humans were quiet. Their 9 ships floated peacefully outside the main docking ring. No strange movements, no strange signals. The humans attended all the meetings. They smiled politely. They gave safe answers. And that made the other species even more certain that humanity was no threat at all. On board the Volari command ship, Admiral Sereth met with her officers in a room filled with music and colored lights. Her wings flared as she danced lightly across the room, speaking with a confident smile. "We offered them a seat at the table," she said, "and they arrived with school buses." One of her younger officers laughed. "They use metal bolts in their hulls, ma'am." "Real bolts," another added. "Their engines leak heat so badly I could track their corvettes with my eyes closed." They all laughed. On the Drekai battlecruiser, Warlord Darnik stood over a large table made of black glass. A map of the summit zone glowed beneath his hands. "Our weapons outmatch theirs 20 to 1. He growled. "I saw their ship specs. They're still using projectile cannons on half their fleet." His second-in-command, Rulik, folded his arms. "Do we crush them after the summit?" Darnik thought for a moment, then shook his head. "Why waste fuel? Let them stay. They're no threat." Elsewhere, on the self-observation ship, no laughter came, only cold whispers. "They do not belong here," said one of the self through the comweb. "They are blind. They are loud. They carry old steel." Yet another self replied, "They see everything." That last comment lingered. Even among the self, a few had doubts, but no one spoke them aloud. Inside the Harmony Spire, a private mock battle was arranged for entertainment. The Dreadnought had suggested it a friendly test of power, meant to amuse the summit's guests. Each race would send one ship into a simulated engagement using real ships, but non-lethal weapons. The humans accepted. Captain Liam Carter selected the Ranger's Hope, a light cruiser from Earth's visible fleet. It was old, with worn armor and outdated weapons. The ship's crew had trained for the match, but were told one thing by Carter before launch: lose. Lieutenant Grace Harper stared at him in shock. "You want us to throw the match?" "I want them to laugh harder," Carter said. "The more they mock us, the deeper they sleep. And when they sleep, we move." She still looked uncertain. "They'll see us as cowards. They already do. Let them believe it completely." The match began. The Ranger's Hope faced off against a Marin skirmisher, a living ship with 4 rotating limbs, each tipped with plasma claws. The fight lasted 6 minutes. The human ship fired a few rounds, then faked engine damage and began to retreat. The Marin vessel chased it, tagged it with pulse hits, and forced it to shut down. The alien audience cheered. The Dreadnought thumped their chests. The Volari clapped and laughed. The Self hissed. The Marin clicked in celebration. And the Grail remained silent. Back on the horizon's edge, Captain Liam received the video of the match. He watched it once, then deleted it. "Now they believe we're weaker than before," he said. "Perfect." Admiral Nora Lawson appeared on the secure screen in the war room. "Phase 1 complete?" she asked. "Yes," Liam replied. "All 5 fleets underestimate us completely." "Good. Begin Phase 2, slowly. Let our ghosts move." "Yes." "Admiral," across space, near the edge of the system, something began to shift. In total silence, 20 ships powered up. They were long and smooth, painted black from hull to engine. No windows, no markings. They did not use standard fuel. They ran on folded space cores and left no trail. The Black Veil Armada had arrived. These ships had been built in secret Earth shipyards. In deep space, no one outside the highest levels of command even knew they existed. Their stealth systems could fool any scanner, even Self-Tech. They did not speak. They did not shine. They simply moved. Their orders were simple: observe, tag, shadow. Each invisible ship was assigned to one alien vessel. Some followed Volari cruisers, some shadowed Dreadnought weapon ships, others followed the Self and Marin formations. One even matched the Grail dreadnought step by step, and no one noticed. Inside one of the Black Veil ships, the HSS Whisper commander, Marcus Holt, stood at his terminal, reading live scans of a Volari battleship. "No energy spikes, no shields active," he said quietly. "They're relaxing, just like the Admiral said they would." Behind him, the crew worked in silence. Everyone wore black. Every screen glowed low red. Even the air felt still. A soft alert blinked. "Movement from Grail ships," his second officer reported. "Keep tracking," Marcus said. "No contact. We are shadows, back on the Harmony Spire." The summit continued. Now, the focus shifted to trade routes. The Volari wanted new lanes opened in Sector 9. The Self disagreed. The Dreadnought proposed taking over a few smaller systems for security reasons. The Marin offered to host those systems instead. The humans remained quiet. Every now and then, Captain Liam gave a suggestion: calm, balanced, almost boring. At one point, the Dreadnought warlord chuckled and said, "It's nice to have humans in the room. They take up space but leave no mark." There was more laughter. Liam smiled. Inside the war room on the horizon's edge, Lieutenant Harper paced back and forth. "I hate this," she said. "Watching them laugh while we do nothing." "We are doing something," Liam replied, eyes on the screen. "Then what is Phase 2 really about?" "Positioning," he said, "understanding, and leaving breadcrumbs." She raised a brow. "Breadcrumbs? Little pieces of information, leaked intentionally, to see who grabs it." He tapped the panel. "Alex, deploy probe unit Echo 7. A hidden drone, small as a suitcase, launched from the ship's ventral bay. It flew silently toward the Self-observation ship, then drifted past the edge of their scanning field. Inside the Self vessel, a whisper passed between officers. "Did you feel that?" Something brushed the veil. "Scan, nothing." Back on the human ship, Liam smiled again. "They're curious," he said. "That's the first crack." Later that night, a self-drone was found floating outside the Marin ship, destroyed. A Volari scout disappeared during a short patrol. The Dreadnoughts sent a ship to investigate, then reported it lost to a sudden system fault. None of them had answers, but all of them started to feel watched. On the Grail ship, Marshal Torvik received the latest report. His science officer approach. Sir, our outer sensors detected a slight gravimetric pull on our 6th patrol craft. It vanished. 3 seconds later, Torvik said nothing, but inside his mind, something moved. He turned to the viewport, staring out into space. They're hiding something, he said softly, and it's not their ships. At the same time, Captain Liam sat in his quarters, staring at a map of the system. Phase 2 had ended, and now the aliens had just started to feel it. Fear. The Harmony Spire felt different now. Only days ago, the station buzzed with energy, laughter, trade, open talk, and arrogant pride. But now something had changed. The air was colder, the halls quieter. Officers walked in groups, checking corners. Eyes watched shadows. Whispers grew louder. Ships were disappearing. It started small. A Volari patrol craft went silent for 30 minutes before it returned. Its crew claimed they saw a shadow in space. Then a Marin drone vanished while scanning empty ground below the station. After that, a self-scout vessel failed to report in at all. One report said it simply faded. None of the 5 races had answers, and none of them wanted to admit weakness. In a locked chamber aboard the Dreadnought warship Ironhole, Warlord Darnik met with his top lieutenants. His red hand slammed on the map table. We have a ghost in the system, he growled. I want it found. Scanners show nothing, his second-in-command said. No heat trails, no power traces, nothing. Then you aren't looking hard enough. Darnik turned toward the window. Far off, the gray ships of Earth drifted quietly, doing nothing. Maybe they are behind this, he muttered. The others paused, then laughed. Humans, one said. With what fleet? They barely brought a cruiser. Another added, they couldn't hide a speeder bike, let alone a warship. But Darnik didn't laugh. His gut told him something was wrong. He stared at Earth's fleet again. To calm, to clean, to quiet. Back aboard the horizon's edge, Captain Liam Carter stood in front of a large holoscreen. Around him, officers watched quietly as red dots blinked out one by one. Each dot was an alien ship that had vanished, tagged, tracked, and then disappeared from the network. Phase 3 was going well. Update, he asked. Lieutenant Grace Harper responded. 2 more targets locked. 1 Volari supply cruiser, 1 Marin sensor frigate. Both followed. Contact, negative. Black Veil units remain cloaked. Observation only. Good, Liam said. Tell them to continue. He turned toward the main star map. Around the system, dozens of red circles appeared, ships from the 5 fleets. But beneath those were ghost shapes, faint, black, almost invisible. The Black Veil Armada. Silent, watching, everywhere. Each human stealth ship had attached to a target. Not to destroy, not yet, but to make them nervous. To make them question. Captain Liam pressed a command on the console. A separate screen showed a feed from the Chess Revenant, the command dreadnought of the Black Veil. On board, Admiral Nora Lawson stood with arms behind her back. The bridge was dark and cool, with low red light bathing her crew in shadows. Progress? She asked. We're in position, Liam said. Aliens are beginning to doubt each other. Phase 3 is reaching full effect. Any sign they suspect us? Liam shook his head. Not directly. But the Dreadnoughts are watching us more closely now. The Grail to let them. That just proves we're winning. Lawson leaned forward. Send the signal. Let them see something. But only one. Liam nodded. Back inside the Black Veil fleet, a single ship, HSS Nightfall, received its order. Activate partial decloak. Flash for 2 seconds. Then vanish. The ship obeyed. Just above the Harmony Spire, where hundreds of officers walked the outer station ring, a shimmer appeared. A long black shape passed by the windows, visible only for a breath. It was gone before alarms even sounded. But it was enough. Inside the Volari command ship, Admiral Sereth jumped from her seat. Did you see it? She cried. Something passed. The ring. Her officers scrambled to check sensors. Nothing. No heat. no signal, no trail. But everyone had seen the shimmer. The story spread fast. Within hours, every fleet was on alert. Patrols doubled. Scanners ran full range. Ships powered their weapons. Officers stopped laughing. Fear had taken hold. Inside the stealth vessel, shrouded thought. Two of the whispering elders met in a cold room lined with floating crystals. They moved in front of our eyes. One said, "How? We see all." The other whispered, "Except them. They are ghosts." "No. Worse." One paused. "The humans." Silence. "Then, they did not come here to show peace. They came to remind us why silence is not weakness." Back on the horizon's edge, Grace looked at Liam with concern. "They're spooked," she said. "All of them. Even the Grail pulled two cruisers back toward the outer zone." "That's the idea," Liam replied. "But why not strike now? We could take out half their fleet before they even find us. Because we're not here to win a battle," he said, turning slowly. "We're here to win everything." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "Letting them live is more powerful than killing them." At that moment, a quiet alarm went off. "New movement." On the edge of the system. Liam tapped the screen. "What is that?" A small fleet appeared. 5 ships, no alliance markings, no known transponders. Unknown ships entering system. "Not matching any of the 5 fleets," Harper said. Liam's eyes narrowed. "Where did they come from?" "Not sure. Their drive signatures are strange." Back aboard the HSS Revenant, Admiral Lawson received the same message. She studied the new ships closely. "Pirates?" "No," her tactical officer said. "These are better built. Organized. Maybe a rogue state." "Then why now?" On the Grail flagship, Marshal Torvik stared at the same data. He finally spoke to his officer. "Prepare the fleet. Shield up. Lock weapons." His officer blinked. "You think we'll be attacked?" Torvik nodded once. "I think someone wants to test us. And it's not the humans." The unknown ships didn't respond to hails. They didn't change course. And then they fired. Without warning, two plasma torpedoes launched from the lead vessel and struck a Volari corvette. The explosion lit up the sky. Fire. Shattered hull. Screams. The summit zone erupted into panic. Alien fleets scrambled. Alarms screamed across the Harmony Spire. Ships powered up. Defensive screens rose. And weapons aimed in every direction. But the humans didn't panic. They were already moving. From the shadows, the Black Veil Armada decloaked one by one. Dozens of black ships, dreadnoughts, cruisers, corvettes appeared around the enemy fleet in perfect silence, and then they struck. One ship fired a disabling EMP. Another dropped a gravity mine. The HSS Revenant fired a single beam that split the enemy flagship in half. The battle lasted exactly 78 seconds. Then it was over. All 5 unknown ships floated in pieces. No survivors. The alien fleets watched in stunned silence. Captain Liam opened a wide frequency channel. "This is Captain Liam Carter of Earth's Black Veil Armada," he said calmly. "We have eliminated the threat. No need for retaliation. No need for war." He looked at the Grail ship, the Drekkai cruiser, the Marin swarm. "We are not here to take. We are not here to rule. We are here to show you that Earth does not forget." He paused. "You laughed at us. You mocked our ships. But we watched. We listened. And while you polished your flags, we built in silence." He ended the transmission. The stars fell silent again. But no one laughed anymore. The battlefield was silent now, where 5 strange warships once fired without warning. Only wreckage remained. Floating metal, glowing sparks, and cracked hulls drifted near the edge of the summit. Zone, human stealth ships hovered nearby, holding position, weapons now powered down but not hidden. For the first time, the galaxy saw them. Dozens of black ships, each one shaped for function, not beauty. Long, sleek, and terrifying. The hulls had no lights, no signals, only purpose. They looked like shadows pulled from deep space, forged in quiet fire. The 5 alien fleets stared in silence. The Volari ships held their places, unsure if they were next. The Drekkai powered weapons, but didn't fire. The Self whispered fast among themselves. The Marin clicked nervously. Even the mighty Grail stayed still. On every alien command deck, the same feeling past confusion. then disbelief, then fear, because Earth had brought more than a few rusted cruisers. They had brought ghosts. Inside the Harmony Spire, the emergency session called by the Galactic Summit Council had begun. Leaders from all 5 races gathered in the central chamber. Captain Liam Carter stood alone at the center floor, surrounded by massive beings, flashing symbols, and blinking translation screens. The Volari ambassador was the first to speak. "You said nothing about this," she snapped, feathers flaring. "You came in silence and then struck like hunters." Liam's face was calm. "We came in peace. And yet you bring warships," said the Drekai warlord, fists clenched. "Stealth vessels. Weapons even the Grail can't detect. Why?" "To protect the peace," Liam replied. The self-representative leaned forward. "You let us mock you, humiliate you, all while your true fleet hid." "Yes," Liam said, "because you would not listen otherwise." The Marin ambassador clicked her mandibles. "You could have shown strength from the start." "We did," Liam answered. "We just did it differently." There was a long pause. Then Marshal Torvek of the Grail stood. All others turned toward him. Even the Drekai lowered their voices. Torvik spoke slowly. "Why?" His question had no anger, no threat, just curiosity. Liam looked up at the massive Grail and replied, "Because Earth remembers what you all forgot." He pointed to the map floating above the council floor. "You have ships, power, technology, but you forgot silence. You forgot patience. You forgot how to observe and learn. While you built fleets to show off, we built fleets to disappear. While you raced to make louder weapons, we built ones that never made a sound." Torvik asked again, "Why not strike? US first." "Because this isn't a war," Liam said. "This is a reminder." Admiral Nora Lawson appeared on the station's communication wall. Her face was clear, her voice strong. "To the 5 galactic powers present," she said, "Earth offers no threat unless threatened first. We respect your history, your cultures, your space." She let the words sink in. "But if you bring fire to our door again, you'll see what hides behind it." No one answered. On the outer ring of the station, alien officers and soldiers looked through large windows, watching the Black Veil Armada move into formation. It wasn't a threat, it was a statement. Every human stealth ship turned slowly, engines low, moving in a graceful dance of shadows. Then, in perfect timing, each ship vanished, cloaked again, gone from every radar. Some alien officers gasped, others whispered to each other. The Drekai commander on the Iron Hull whispered, "I never saw them move." The stealth technicians checked their most sensitive scanners, no trace. Even the Marin, who prided themselves on their instincts, had no answer. Back inside the Harmony Spire, the council grew quiet. The Volari ambassador finally said, "So what does Earth want now?" Liam looked around the chamber. "Nothing more than what we were already promised. A voice, a seat, and respect." The self leaned forward. "You could take more." "We could," Liam said honestly, "but we won't." He turned to the Drekai. "You laughed at our old ships. We let you. We needed you to believe we were weak. Not because we enjoy trickery, but because showing power too early only leads to panic." The Drekai warlord remained silent. Then Liam turned to Torvek, the Grail Marshal. "You were the only one who didn't laugh." Torvek nodded slowly. "Because I remembered the last time Earth was quiet." He said that there was silence again. Then, Torvik added, "It didn't end well for those who ignored that silence." He looked at the others. "The humans didn't strike us. They struck outsiders. They saved the summit. They acted with restraint. That matters." He stepped away from his podium. "The Grail will not oppose Earth's place on the council." The room shifted. The Marin were next. "We follow the strength of the moment. And Earthworth has shown more than strength. They've shown vision." The self whispered, then spoke as one. "Agreed. Humans have moved like wind, silent, purposeful, effective." The Volari took longer. But finally, their ambassador lowered her feathers and nodded. "We respect their method, even if it humiliated us." The Drekai hesitated. Their pride was legendary. But Warlord Darnik finally stood and said, "Earth walked like prey and became the predator. That takes courage." He looked directly at Liam. "We will not challenge your position." Liam nodded. "Then it's settled." Admiral Lawson spoke again. The Black Veil Armada will remain in distant orbit unless required. Earth will maintain full participation in all galactic decisions, and we will offer stealth coordination training to all races willing to learn. The Volari looked surprised. You would share this technology? To a degree, Lawson said. Enough to protect, not to copy. Trust must be earned. The council ended with no further conflict, but no one would forget what they saw. As the humans left the chamber, some alien officers followed Liam through the station. A young Marin soldier saluted him. A Volari engineer asked to tour the horizon's edge. Even a self-commander offered a quiet thank you. Outside the station, the 9 visible human ships stayed in place, but now they were no longer seen as weak. Now they were a mystery, and mysteries earned respect. In the quiet of space, the HSS Revenant moved into high orbit, cloaked again. Its crew returned to routine. Quiet scans. Silent movement. On the bridge, Admiral Lawson stood alone. Commander Marcus Holt approached her. The galaxy saw our veil. She nodded. They needed to. They fear us now. They should, she said. But more than that, they should understand us. Marcus looked out at the stars. Will we strike again? Only if they force us to, Lawson said. Then she smiled. But let's hope they remember this moment. Because Earth hadn't just shown power. It had taught a lesson. That silence can be loud. That shadows can carry fire. And that sometimes the quietest fleet is the deadliest. Peace never lasts long. 3 days after Earth was accepted into the Galactic Summit as a full member, an emergency signal came from Sector 19-1 of the outer trade routes. Newly granted to human patrol. The message was brief. The patrol ship, Eagle's Watch, had gone dark. No return message, no signal, no wreckage found. Inside the horizon's edge, Captain Liam Carter sat at the command table with his officers. On the display, Sector 19 blinked red. A warning. Could it be pirates? Asked Lieutenant Grace Harper. No, Liam said. The message was cut mid-sentence. Whoever did this knew exactly where to strike. He tapped the screen. This route was granted to us by the Dreadnoughts. Harper's eyes narrowed. You think they lured us in? I think Warlord Darnik accepted us publicly, but never meant it. Liam opened a secure channel to Admiral Nora Lawson, now aboard the HSS Revenant, which hovered cloaked just outside the summit system. Admiral, he said, we may have a situation. I heard, she replied. Another Black Veil unit was monitoring the route. We lost contact with them too. Liam's jaw tightened. So it's confirmed. Yes, Lawson said. Phase 4 begins now. Elsewhere in the galaxy, Warlord Darnik stood aboard his massive warship, the Iron Hole, surrounded by his generals. They think stealth makes them rulers, he growled. But honor comes from strength shown in the open. He pointed at a hologram of the Black Veil ships. Cowards hide. Drekai do not. His second in command, Rulik, looked uneasy. The other races accepted Earth's position, only because they fear the shadows. But I say we burn the shadows down. Darnik raised a clawed fist. Send the fleet to Sector 19. We end the humans' illusion there, in deep space. 6 Drekai battlecruisers jumped from hyperspace into Sector 19. Each was armed with heavy cannons, missile arrays, and interceptor drones. They moved fast, looking for human signatures. They didn't have to wait long. One moment the sector was silent. The next, black shapes shimmered into view. The Black Veil Armada had arrived. 12 human stealth ships uncloaked in perfect formation. Their weapons were already locked. On the bridge of the HSS Revenant, Admiral Lawson stood tall. Engage with control, she ordered. No unnecessary kills, but no retreat. The battle began with precision. The HSS Whisper fired first hits. Railgun disabled a Drekai destroyer's engine. The HSS Nightfall followed, launching an EMP torpedo that knocked out a second ship's radar system. The Drekai returned fire with fury. Plasma bolts lit up the stars. One human corvette took a direct hit and spun into debris. Lawson's eyes narrowed. Shift pattern. Focus fire. Bring the Iron Hole into range from behind the asteroid belt. The HSS Phantom Blade slipped into view, its main cannon glowing blue. It fired. The beam shot through space and punched a hole straight through the Iron Howl's lower deck. Inside the Dreadnought warship, alarms rang. Fire spread. Systems failed. Warlord Darnik gripped the support beam as the floor shook beneath him. "Brace," he roared. "Return fire. Bring that ship down." But the Revenant had already moved. Every Black Veil ship danced through the chaos, never staying in one spot, always 2 steps ahead. The HSS Stiletto deployed mines that tore through 3 drone squadrons. The HSS Veilburn disabled a Dreadnought shield generator with a precise missile strike. Then the Revenant made its move. Lawson spoke one word. Now. The Dreadnought surged forward, its black hull reflecting starlight. 4 plasma lances fired from its belly, each aimed with surgical focus. 2 enemy ships were crippled instantly. The iron hull turned to face it, but it was too late. The Revenant fired its main cannon once more. The shot hit the Dreadnought warship directly in its power core. For a second, everything froze. Then the iron hull exploded in a silent ball of flame and metal. The shockwave rippled through space. The remaining Dreadnought ships stopped firing. The battle was over. But Admiral Lawson didn't relax. Status: 1 loss, HSS Sparrow. Minimal casualties. 5 Dreadnought ships disabled. 1 destroyed. Casualty reports: only 3 human lives lost. She nodded, then opened a broadcast to the Dreadnought fleet's survivors. "This is Admiral Lawson of Earth. Your attack was unprovoked. You broke Summit law. You targeted our people." She paused. "But we will not destroy what we don't have to. Power without control is waste. Your ships are disabled. We will tow them to neutral space. You may retrieve them when the Summit decides your punishment." There was no reply. But across the galaxy, the message had already spread. The footage was shared. Every race saw how the Black Veil Armada moved, how it struck, how it showed power without destruction, how it turned a trap into a warning. Back on the horizon's edge, Liam watched the battle summary. He looked tired, but calm. Grace Harper leaned against the wall. "That's going to shake the galaxy." "Yes," Liam said. "That was the point." He turned to the stars outside the viewport. "They mocked us. Then they feared us. Now they'll think before they act." She looked at him. "Do you think this will bring peace?" "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe it brings the next test from orbit." The Black Veil Armada vanished again, 1 ship at a time. Back into the dark. Back into the silence. Waiting. Because Earth knew something others had forgotten. You don't need to shout to be strong. Sometimes, the scariest voice in the galaxy is the one that whispers and never misses. The stars outside the horizon's edge were calm, but the crew inside was tense. The Dreadnought attack in Sector 19 had ended in a clear human victory. The Black Veil Armada had proven its strength, and Earth's message to the galaxy was clear. "We may walk in silence, but we will strike when needed." Now, the galaxy watched carefully. But Captain Liam Carter felt something else in the air, something deeper than politics or power. He sat alone in the observation room, looking at the map of known space. Sectors blinked across the display in red and blue. Trade zones, military routes, old war scars, and beyond them empty space, unmapped, unknown. That was where the real danger always hid. His thoughts were broken by the soft sound of footsteps. Lieutenant Grace Harper entered, holding a data tablet. "Message just came in, sir," she said. "From the Self." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Direct, encrypted and personal, sent only to us, not shared with the Summit." He sat up straighter. "Interesting." He tapped the tablet. The message appeared in a soft green glow. The Self didn't use words like other races. Their messages came as emotions, images, and thoughts wrapped in signals. The AI translated it into a clear sentence. "Come to the moon of Silva. Come alone. Bring no fleet. We have something to show you." Liam stared at the message. "The Self are never direct," he said. "They hide behind riddles and silence." Grace frowned. "You think it's a trap? I think it's something else. I think they're afraid." An hour later, Admiral Nora Lawson appeared on the secure channel from the HSS Revenant. "The Self rarely invite anyone to their territory," she said. "They don't trust easily, I know." Liam said, "That's why I'm going." "Alone?" she asked. "With 1 ship," Liam replied. "The horizon's edge can cloak now. We'll take no weapons out of the hull. They'll skin us before we enter orbit." Lawson didn't like it, but she nodded. "Be careful, Captain. I don't like surprises. I'll bring you answers," Liam promised. 3 days later, the Horizon's Edge entered self-space. The moon of Silva was a black marble floating near a dead star. It had no atmosphere, no cities, no signs of life, just smooth dark rock under a pale blue sky. But as Liam's ship approached, sensors picked up something beneath the surface. "Underground structure detected," Harper said. "Huge, at least the size of a city, no power signature." The pilot added, "Looks abandoned." Liam gave the order to land. They touched down near a flat area marked by 6 glowing stones. The moment Liam stepped outside in his pressure suit, a soft wave passed through the ground. The surface opened. A path revealed itself leading into the heart of the moon. He entered alone. The walls inside were not made of stone. They were smooth, like glass melted into perfect shapes. Strange lights pulsed through the floor's soft blues and greens. Then he saw them, the Self. Dozens of them, tall, thin, moving without sound. Their heads tilted as they watched him. No weapons, no movement, just waiting. One of them stepped forward. It projected a voice into his translator. "You walk calmly," it said. "That is rare." "I was invited," Liam replied. "And you came." "Yes, I want to know why." The Self led him deeper underground. They entered a chamber filled with floating lights, each one held an image. Inside it, ships, stars, planets, battles. Some were from history, others were not known at all. The Self spoke again. "You believe you are ready. Your fleet hides well. Your weapons strike fast. But you are still looking inward." Liam frowned. "What do you mean?" The lights around them shifted. A single star appeared in the center. It flickered, then burst into darkness. "This was a world we once watched," the Self said. Beyond the mapped edges, near the void, the light grew. Images of cities appeared. Then came others, shapes, creatures, ships unlike anything Liam had seen. "We called them the Hollow." The image changed. A giant black shape moved across the screen. It was not a ship, it was something alive, bigger than a planet, covered in plates and mouths and void-colored eyes. "They do not trade. They do not talk. They consume, all, slowly, without warning." Liam's voice was low. "And they're coming. They always move, slowly, but they are closer now than before." The Self turned toward him. "That is why we watched you. That is why we waited. To see if Earth remembered how to survive, how to build in silence." Liam's thoughts raced. "You wanted us to show our teeth," he said. "Yes, you let the others mock us. Because if you broke, you were not ready." Liam stared at the moving images. He saw alien fleets melt under hollow weapons. He saw planets consumed. He saw entire systems silenced. He swallowed. "Why now?" "Because the last scout passed through one of our outer systems 2 weeks ago. It saw us. It turned away. But it will return." Liam felt a chill in his chest. "You think Earth has a chance to stop them?" "Alone, no. But if you lead, maybe the galaxy will follow." The chamber fell silent. Then Liam asked the question that had been in his mind since the first image. "Why show me this?" The Self stepped back. "Because silence can no longer protect us, but it may still guide us." Back on the Horizon's Edge, the crew watched as Liam returned from the moon alone. His face was pale, his eyes hard. He entered the command deck and gave a single order. "Set a course back to the summit. Maximum speed." Harper looked at him. "Sir, what happened down there?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said softly, "There's something coming, something worse than war. We need to prepare." As the ship jumped into hyperspace, Liam opened a message line to Admiral Lawson. "This isn't just about the 5 races anymore," he said. "It never was." The screen lit up. "It's about what's coming for all of us." The Horizon's Edge dropped out of hyperspace near the Harmony Spire, its hull still dark from silent mode. Other ships from the Galactic summit hovered nearby, floating information. Their colors and shapes filled the sky like a field of strange stars. But this time, Liam Carter wasn't watching their designs. He was watching their weapons. Since the Black Veil Armada had revealed itself, many alien fleets had quietly upgraded their readiness. More patrols, more defensive shields, more scanning probes. Now Liam was returning, not just to show strength but to deliver a warning that could shake the galaxy. On the bridge, Lieutenant Grace Harper stood beside him, a concerned look on her face. "What if they don't believe us?" she asked. "They might not," Liam admitted. "But that doesn't change the truth." He opened a calm line to Admiral Nora Lawson, still positioned outside the system with the HSS Revenant and 6 other Black Veil ships. "Admiral," Liam said, "I need clearance to address the entire Council full broadcast, all delegates, all species." Lawson's face appeared on screen. She looked tired but focused. "You have it," she said. "And Liam, be careful. Not everyone fears what's coming. Some may want to control it instead." Liam nodded. The Harmony Spire granted docking access. As he stepped off the shuttle and into the council hall, every eye turned toward him. Alien ambassadors shifted in their seats. Lights flickered across the chamber walls. Suspicion filled the air. The Volari representative narrowed her eyes. "You return quickly, Captain Carter. I assume Earth has more surprises?" The Marin clicked their mandibles softly. "Or more tricks." The Dreadnought warlord Darnik said nothing, but his fists were clenched. Only the self remained still, watching. Liam stepped into the center of the floor and took a breath. "I'm not here to threaten anyone," he said. "I bring news, a warning, and it affects all of us, human, alien, old enemy or new friend." He tapped a small device. A 3D star map appeared in the air, showing the known galaxy. Then it zoomed out farther, past explored regions. A dark space appeared, then a ripple, then a shape. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't natural. It moved like hunger. "This is what the self call the Hollow," Liam said. "A force beyond the edge of our galaxy, ancient, alive, and moving toward us." The room went quiet. "They consume systems, planets, lives, no words, no reason, only silence." He showed a second image, one of a world being swallowed by shadow. Ships breaking, energy being drained, cities vanishing into nothing. "This is not a rumor. This is not myth. I saw it myself, on the moon of Silva." The Dreadnought warlord rose to his feet. "And we're supposed to believe you," he growled. "You and your shadow fleet. The same humans who hid their weapons and struck from darkness." Liam stood his ground. "Yes," he said calmly, "because we used silence to survive, not to deceive." The Volari ambassador raised her wing. "Why should we trust the self? They've always kept secrets." The self representative leaned forward and spoke only 3 words: "Because we are afraid." That silence cut through the room more than shouting ever could. The Marin whispered something between themselves. Then one asked, "Can it be stopped?" "Maybe." Liam said, "If we prepare, if we work together, if we act now." He paused. "But not if we stay divided." That was when the Grail Marshal Torvik stood. He looked around the chamber slowly, then spoke in his usual calm voice. "The humans warned us before. We didn't listen." He nodded at Liam. "This time we listen." The Marin agreed. Even the Volari, though clearly unsure, gave a slow nod. Only the Dreadnought refused. Darnik's voice was sharp. "You ask us to believe in shadows. You ask us to kneel to fear." "No," Liam said. "I ask you to open your eyes." But Darnik would not yield. As the session closed, Liam walked alone through the Harmony Spire's long corridor. Grace met him near the docking bay. "That went better than expected," she said. "Too well," Liam replied. "Darnik's too proud to accept being wrong." They returned to the horizon's edge, and the ship moved to holding position near the station. For several hours, everything was quiet. Then the alarms sounded. A human cargo ship, Unity Star Station near the Dreadnought fleet, exploded. The blast tore through its hull, scattering debris into nearby docks. Emergency lights filled the sky. Inside the horizon's edge, Liam rushed to the bridge. "Report. Explosion at Dock 9, Harper said. "One of ours. Casualties 17 confirmed. All human." He clenched his jaw. "What caused it?" "Unknown," she replied. "But we intercepted a transmission 5 minutes earlier from." The Dreadnought cruiser claws reached to a civilian worker on the station. Liam's eyes darkened. "Prepare a team. We're going in the control room of the Harmony Spire's security wing." Liam and Grace faced the station director, a neutral species official who looked worried and nervous. You can't accuse the Drekai without evidence, the director said. We don't need to accuse them. Grace said, we have the message. They played it. A voice from the Drekai ship spoke softly. Ensure the cargo bay doors remain unlocked. We'll handle the rest. The director swallowed hard. You understand what this means, Liam said. This wasn't a mistake. It was an act of sabotage, a message. The station security forces confirmed the evidence and issued an immediate lockdown of the Drekai section, but it was too late. Warlord Darnik and 3 of his elite guards had already escaped the station and returned to their fleet. Within minutes, the Drekai ships turned and jumped into hyperspace. They vanished. Where did they go? Grace asked. Liam stared at the dark space beyond the screen. They're running, he said, but not from fear. He tapped the panel. They're going to find the hollow. Grace blinked. Why? Liam looked at her. Because he thinks he can use it. On board the HSS Revenant, Admiral Lawson received the report with a heavy expression. He's going to try to control a force he doesn't understand, she said, and in doing so, he could lead it straight back to us. She opened a comm line to the entire Black Veil Armada. Prepare for deployment, she ordered. We're heading into the deep, and for the first time in many years, humanity's strongest fleet set course, not for war, but for warning. Because someone had opened a door. And what came through might not close it again.